men are not the primary victims of war, to which you agree. So who are the primary victims of war?
I think about everything, like in terms of like rape on women, like not just if you're talking about them doing the fighting, I do think they are, like, of course, the victims of war.
Yeah, but it's about war.
Yeah, but then like I'm talking about like everything about war, like the rape of war, the fighting
Let's use
of war.
grape.
Oh, sorry.
Don't use essay or grape.
Sorry, the grape of war, and I think it in that perspective. But if you're talking about who fought and stuff.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. So you're saying that, like if we
everyone's somewhat affected, but the main.
How do you differentiate when it comes to, I guess, the impact or suffering? So, do you think, for example, like, do you make the following trade? I guess, if you can prevent one woman from being raped, it's worth killing 1,000 men. Do you take that trade?
No. I can't because that's something I can't even choose from. Like I personally.
Yeah, I know you don't have that.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah. But no, that's not something I would choose. Okay, so in war,
overwhelmingly, and if you can look at historical wars, World War II, World War I.
But I say
hold on, stop interrupting.
Okay. Sorry, I get
If you look
excited.
at World War II, World War I, these are the most documented historical events ever.
Okay.
So we know pretty well when it comes to military casualties, deaths, and then also crimes against women. I don't know why you're doing this. Why don't you chill out,
I'm so excited
relax.
to talk about this. Okay.
Okay. So we know that something like 20 million men died or something like that, and then there were civilian casualties. So, and yes, women absolutely were raped during World War II, World War I. We don't know the precise numbers. It definitely wasn't 20 million. Do you think that 20 million male deaths, here, I'll just be charitable, 5 million women were raped, 20 million men, that's probably not even the actual numbers, but just to throw out a number.
Okay.
20 million men dead. Which is worse?
Do I have to pick, or do I get to like talk on like why I chose that exactly?
Pick, and then you can tell me why.
Okay, what am I picking on again? I'm picking
Which
between...
is worse, 20 million men who die or 5 million women who get raped?
I'm not sure, only because I think men, like, they go to war. Of course, some of them don't want to, but they do fight for a cause, and they feel proud to, like, fight for their country, or I'm just saying, like, maybe majority. And I think, like, is very...
Grape. Or essay.
I said grape. Oh, sorry. I said grape.
It didn't sound like it, but
sorry.
okay, go ahead. Just say essay.
Okay, I'll just say essay.
Go ahead.
Essay is very, like, it's not chosen at all, I would say.
Do you know what the draft is?
I'm sorry. You heard about comfort women, right? During war and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like that, like men.
Yeah, I agree. Bad.
Yeah, it's
great. Essay bad. Comfort women bad.
Yes, and I just think that war in general, of course, like I think who chooses war? Like, is it men or women? Like, who chooses to go to war? I'm just saying, like, it's just
absolutely.
bad. It's just bad period. Don't make me choose between. It's just bad period. And if you're talking,
if you're gonna ask a question, you gotta let me answer the question. You can't
what did I ask?
You can't just.
Okay. Yes.
What's it called?
Go over it. Like every time you guys do here, you guys do that quite often.
Yeah, I'm the host.
Yes.
So.
Okay. But it's just okay. So you get to do whatever you want, I guess. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm the host.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt people. I'm going to move things along. So. Your whole argument is that women don't have a say. Well, most men, you think like 18-year-old men want to go to war?
Of course. I said I don't think a lot of people go to war. It's not an argument. It's just like my thought process.
Throughout most of human history, like most men were conscripted into war.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't think that they want to go to war. But I think
so where's your
mm-hmm.
trade-off, though, when it comes to like the greater suffering or the greater loss?
I think both have a bad.
How about this? If you could prevent one woman from being raped, would
I already said no.
Kill 100 men?
I already said no.
10 men.
All right. No, I guess I can't. 1 for 10 is just, it's hard. I can't choose that. Don't make me choose that. I just think everyone.
What about from a justice perspective? Would you?
Why do I have to pick like specific things like this?
It's just testing the logic. So would you?
Okay, got it.
Would you send 100 innocent men to jail?
To save one innocent woman or something?
No. Would you send 100 innocent men to jail if it meant one actual serial rapist was convicted? Okay.
Yeah, it's just not fair. It's just...
Okay, I'm just confused, though. So if we're doing a comparison when it comes to war, the prompt is, so you said men are not the primary victims of war.
Yeah.
So how could it possibly be the case if there's 20 million men who die and only... X amount. We don't have the exact
because
numbers.
that's just my emotional thought on it. In terms of logical thought on whether or not I would choose to save one woman over 100 innocent
that off
men,
the table?
then that's something I'm logically making a sense of.
Okay, so are men the primary victims
But this
of
is
war?
my opinion, and I think that I just say no because there's just so many things.
Yeah, but are men the primary victims of war?
I can't.
Well, then, if not men, who?
Just people. It's just war. It's just
Yeah,
everybody.
but okay, if the question is it women?
It's just both genders.
Yes, I understand that both men and women can be and are victims of
Yes.
war. Okay, let me ask you, let me make it super simple.
Okay.
A woman who's pregnant.
Okay.
That must be really difficult for the husband to
Correct.
witness the pains of pregnancy
Yes.
that his wife is experiencing.
Okay.
Who is the primary sufferer of pregnancy? The woman or the husband?
Physically, the woman. Psychologically, both. It's just both.
Why would it be psychologically
'Cause
both?
It is
Do the other
painful.
women here agree psychologically it's more difficult for the husband
Yeah, it is.
to go through a pregnancy than it is for the woman to go through the pregnancy?
I respectfully disagree.
Oh, that's okay.
Actually, I'll just agree. I'll just concede on this point.
Okay.
Say you're right. It's possible that psychologically the husband goes through a worse time than
It
the
is.
woman
It
in
feels
some
bad
cases.
when you can't do anything about.
Hang
like,
on.
something.
Let me finish.
Okay.
In some cases, it could be the case that a husband psychologically goes through more than the woman. But do you think overall that the woman is the primary victim of the pregnancy or the husband, even if he goes through
Yeah, definitely.
somehow
Of
more
course.
more
Because there's
psychological
physical-
damage?
Yes, of course, because physically and mentally, yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
So
got
then
it.
Brian's asking that
Okay.
exact same question,
Okay.
physically and mentally.
I understand
Who is
that.
the primary victim of war?
I
Can you answer
understand.
the actual question being asked, please?
I say both. I'm sorry.
Here,
I
how
can't
about
decide.
this? Here, I'll give you another scenario.
Okay.
Okay. A
Nothing-
boyfriend is,
okay.
there's a boyfriend, girlfriend, right? They're dating each other. The girlfriend is raped.
Okay.
Okay. That is something really difficult as someone who you care about and love to
course.
see them have to go through that. That's a
course.
terrible thing.
Yes.
Awful crime. It's going to have ramifications on the relationship. You feel for them. You have empathy for them.
Yes.
They've been perhaps violently physically assaulted. The emotional trauma that's going to entail in that. Who's the primary victim?
Of
The
course,
woman
the
who
female.
was raped
She
or the
went through-
boyfriend
she
who
went through it
you would
physically
acknowledge
and
you would
emotionally.
acknowledge that the boyfriend, that's got to be very traumatic as a
course,
boyfriend
yeah.
to go through that.
course.
Is it as traumatic
As
as
the
the
person
woman
experienced?
who was raped?
I'm gonna say no. And
So why can't you say that
because-
about men and war when it's
because-
clear that men are overwhelmingly the
Yes.
ones who die in war, the ones who
Yes.
are injured in war, the ones who
Yes.
are involved in war?
Okay, because like I said, it's just both. It's physical and psychological. Women are getting SA'd, and they can't really. Were they even allowed to go to war
Okay,
at that
here,
time?
but-
And I'm just saying, men can fight for a cause at that time. I don't know. I watch movies. I don't know much about war in general, and that's just my opinion.
How about this?
Okay.
Okay. Children or women, primary
Yes.
victims of war?
No, I just say both. Just people were. I just.
Yeah.
they were
But
all-
what does the word primary
I
mean?
guess primary. Do you want to talk about like number wise?
Yeah,
If you're talking
Can you
about
just
number.
Can you just answer my question?
Yeah,
What
in
does the
terms
word
of
primary
numbers.
mean?
Yeah, primary
can you
just
answer
means
my
majority.
question?
Majority.
What does the
Majority.
Word, can you just answer my question?
Majority.
Can I at least ask the fucking question?
Yeah, you just go ahead.
What does the word primary mean?
Majority.
Okay. So, primary victim of war.
Okay.
Women or children.
Oh, between like women or children, like choosing between the two.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know the stats. Children, I don't know the
So,
stats.
primary victim of war, majority.
Yes.
Men or children.
Okay. Again, like I need if you want to talk about numbers, which I can really talk about. If you show me two numbers, more men than children, then I would say primarily men. Simple. If you want to show stats about women and men, then yeah, primarily.
Got it.
if
So
you
what
wanna-
stats? Like deaths?
Just death. I don't know. Whatever you guys want to put numbers on, because.
No,
yeah.
I'm asking you. Would it
Okay.
just be death? Is that the metric we're using?
Just anything involved, because it's war. It could be death.
so
It could be
death
anything.
plus psychology plus psychological damage.
Yeah, just everything.
Primary
like war.
victim meaning the majority of the victims of
Yes.
war. Men or
Okay.
women.
Yeah, if you want to give me numbers, I can point it out, but I don't know them. Like
What do
that's my
how
fault.
about just give us your intuition and tell us why you have that intuition?
Intuition on why? Intuition on. Which one? Like
men.
why?
If you had to guess, so
Okay.
let's pretend for a second you're in an alien ship and they put a gun to your head and say, you have to decide right now.
I don't know
who's
why
the
you guys-
primary victim of war, men or women, based on psychology and physical death. Who would you choose even if you didn't have the stats?
All right,
And
I
why?
would say men because they were the fighters, and of course they were the ones in the front lines.
So why did you
Okay.
say that at the beginning, like that it was women?
I didn't say it was women. I just didn't agree.
Okay.
I just think that everyone, like men, women, children, whatever, like they're all like,
I don't think look,
yeah.
when it
That was
comes
my
to
take.
war, children are victims, women are victims.
Yes, that's how I saw
but
it.
primary victims of war. Primary would indicate like the most, the first, this sort of thing.
Okay, then I would say men then in terms
I'm
of
gonna move it on then